Hey everybody, we're going to continue with our draft recap, and this time it's on the AFC North. Let's get started. So, the Bengals make an interesting move and go with a tight end in the first round, so that happened. Tyler Kroft was seen as one of the better tight end prospects. Not sure if he's going to turn out to be that, but they did lose Charles Clay, who was like a top league receiving leader, and he went to the Saints. So they needed to find a replacement, so they decided to reach on a tight end here and get one of the best ones in the class. I think history will tell that it wasn't going to be the best pick. Then we got Randy Gregory, a defensive end. Jordan Hicks, an outside linebacker, so trying to improve a little bit on the defensive side. They get Jalen Strong there in the fourth round. Not too high on him. However, he's a fourth-round pick. Then they bring in running back Javorius Allen. So they have Devonta Freeman in his second year, Derek Carr in his second year, running back Latavius Murray, and now they bring in Javorius Allen to be the third running back. Maybe he'll get some opportunities there for the second string. Jalston Fowler, they bring in a fullback as well, and then Ellis McCarthy, a defensive tackle. They also signed Scott Chandler, so they get some more depth at the tight end position. Ryan Cook for center, because he's going to be behind Jason Kelsey, I believe. Let's see, where's Ryan Cook? Right. And then Nick Folk, they signed as their kicker, because they had no kicker on the roster. So let's go ahead and get to the feedback from around the league. So Colin Coward says, this draft says Zimmer is in control, and I love that. A tight end in the first round, that's about Derek Carr's comfort. Kroft is smart and reliable. Randy Gregory, tremendous upside, but baggage. Jordan Hicks is a total pro. I'm not sure you needed a fullback in 2015, but it's very on brand for Mike Zimmer. This draft feels like a chess game, not a headline grabber, but a roster builder. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Skip Bayless, let me get this straight. The Bengals are defending champs. Defending AFC champions. They have Derek Carr, and they use their first-round pick on Tyler Kroft. I like the kid, but not at 20. Not with Jalen Strong still there in the fourth. Randy Gregory is talented, but he's more trouble than production. And a fullback? What is this, 1994? I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at it at all. Tyler Kroft, solid. Carr needs a tight end. Randy Gregory is a gamble, but that boy can rush the quarterback. Zimmer believes in him. I'll roll with that. Jordan Hicks is a leader. Jalen Strong gives them size. And let me say this, Buck Allen can play. Buck Allen. Is that his nickname? Is it Javorius Allen? Buck Allen? Whatever. Buck Allen can play. I watched him at USC. Was Javorius Allen at USC? No, it is. Okay, maybe that was his nickname. I don't know. Anyway, Buck Allen can play. I watched him at USC. He's a workhorse. Don't love the fullback pick, but Zimmer probably just wants someone to hit people in the mouth. So, good on that. And Jalen Strong is 6'2", 217 pounds, so he does fit the size discussion there. Then Adam Schefter, this class drew mixed reviews from team execs. The Bengals prioritized system fits over star power. Tyler Kroft was viewed as a bit of a reach, but they believe he's an every down player. Gregory's off-field issues gave teams pause, but Zimmer has confidence in his structure. Jordan Hicks is a very safe pick, and Jalen Strong may prove to be a steal in the fourth. The Bengals didn't draft flash, they drafted function. And then the last feedback here from Mel Kiper. There's a mix of risk and reliability here. Kroft was my tight end 3, bit high at 120. But I understand the fit in a West Coast scheme with Carr. Randy Gregory could be the best pass rusher in this class if he stays focused. That's the big if. Love Jordan Hicks. Incredibly instinctive. Jalen Strong in the fourth. Great value. This is a draft that gets better over time, not one that wins headlines. And then we've got the Cleveland Browns. So they have Philip Dorsett, who was the first-round pick, so a speedy wide receiver. They also bring in Nate Orchard, the defensive end, Max Garcia, center, and then they went 3 straight offensive line because, again, they had a lot of offensive line gaps. But so that's Andrew Donnell, Cody Wichman, and then they go defensive end again with David Irving and Keyshawn Jarrett. Nate Orchard over there, defensive end. He was a real life pick, but he was like, I think he was more like third or fourth round in real life. But they take him at 225 just to make sure they get him on the team. They also signed Joe Hawley, center. They signed Darrell Eskridge because they needed some safety support there. They had just a backup because they have HaHa Clinton Dix. So they needed a backup safety. He's a 59 overall. Then they have Mason Crosby because they needed a kicker. And then Xavier Dixon. So let's go ahead and see the feedback from the league. The Browns are finally acting like grown-ups in the draft room. This isn't chaos, it's continuity. Terrell Pryor is an athletic freak. So what do? Get him speed, Dorsett. And protection, Garcia, Donnell, Wichman. Dorsett stretches the field, Garcia brings SEC toughness, and David Irving is a high-ceiling swing. I like the plan, and I love that it doesn't scream desperation. The Browns finally have a blueprint. And then there's Skip Bayless saying, I'm actually going to do something shocking. I'm going to give the Cleveland Browns some credit. Dorsett can fly. That helps Pryor, who's still not the most accurate guy. Max Garcia is solid. Nate Orchard and David Irving give them bite on defense. But here's my problem. No backup QB. No insurance plan if Pryor regresses. What's the answer? This draft supports the now, not the future. Okay? Then we got Stephen A. Smith. This draft was about keeping the heat off of Terrell Pryor. And I say mission accomplished. Philip Dorsett is fast. That brother will be taking the top off of defenses like a bottle of champagne. They double down on the line. Garcia, Donnell, Wichman, all smart picks. But let me tell you something about David Irving. If this man gets his mind right, the AFC North better be afraid. This draft is sneaky dangerous. Then you got Adam Schefter. Several executives praise the Browns' discipline in this class. Dorsett brings explosiveness, and they added 4 linemen and a box safety. A clear vote for confidence in Mike Pettine's blueprint. There were questions around value. Wichman and Donald graded more as 6th rounders, but Cleveland filled their depth chart intelligently. The pick everyone is watching, David Irving. High upside, high risk, a possible Pro Bowler, or a waiver wire flameout. Then Mel Kiper. This draft lacks flash unless you count Dorsett's 4.3 speed, but it has meat. I had Max Garcia as the 3rd ranked center in this class, and getting him in the 3rd round is tremendous value. Donnell and Wichman are developmental guys, but they bring size and experience. Nate Orchard gives you effort and motor off the edge. Irving is a boom or bust. The Browns didn't overthink this. They drafted around their identity, and that's how you keep winning. Then you got the Baltimore Ravens here. Brandon Scherf, left tackle, so they solidify that. I mean, they have Sebastian Vollmer, and so Vollmer is not bad. I mean, he's 79 overall, but he is also he's also 31 years old. So they have a chance right now to basically get their next decade of left tackle play. They also get a aggressive linebacker there with pass rusher Preston Smith, wide receiver Jamison Crowder. Oh, let's see. I think it's there. You go. Artis Payne at running back. They have Ibrahim Campbell and then Anthony Morris at offensive tackle. Let's go ahead and see how they react to it. Oh, excuse me. Before that, we see them sign Troy Smith. Troy Smith was originally drafted by the Ravens back in 2006 or 2007. I forget which one it was. So he's going to be the backup or one of the backups here in Baltimore because they do have Derek Anderson as a starter. And they kind of wanted to get someone better than David Fales, a 54 overall guy. So, yeah, progress there with Troy Smith. Then Justin Rogers, Jaquan Jarrett, and Martez Wilson coming in there as outside linebacker. Now let's get to the feedback. This is a very Baltimore draft. They didn't reach. They didn't panic. They went offensive line, defensive front, and a slot receiver who screams productive. Scherf is a grown man. Preston Smith has real bend. Crowder is a 3rd down blanket. No quarterback. Well, that's the problem. You've got Derek Anderson running the show and no long-term plan. That's not great. But if you ignore the QB hole, this is a really solid class. Then we got Skip Bayless over here. Brandon Scherf, love him. Nasty grown-up pick. But the Ravens trying to win football games or building a landscaping company. You don't win in today's NFL by stacking linemen and hoping Derek Anderson becomes Peyton Manning. Jamison Crowder is fine. Preston Smith, he's okay, but there's no juice. Dan Quinn needed a spark, and this draft brought sandbags. So C+ from him. And then I get it. I get what the Ravens are trying to do. Scherf, I like him. Physical. Preston Smith, underappreciated edge talent. Jamison Crowder, that brother can move. Artis Payne gives you some depth, but here's my issue. Where is the quarterback? Derek Anderson isn't scaring anybody in the AFC North. No offense. The Ravens didn't draft dumb. They just didn't draft dangerous. So, I kind of agree. I mean, Anderson is a little bit better in this reality than the other one, but that's cool. League execs saw Baltimore's 2015 draft as conservative but clean. Scherf was one of the most NFL-ready linemen in the draft. Preston Smith fits Dan Quinn's preferred front mechanics. Jamison Crowder was well-liked by scouts as a day 2 slot option. The late-round selections were viewed as depth moves. The missing piece remains under center. Unless they swing big in free agency next year, Anderson doesn't move the needle. Then you got Kuiper. Brandon Scherf is a plug-and-play guard or tackle with all-pro potential. That's a win. Preston Smith was one of my favorite day 2 pass rushers. Powerful hands, good motor. Jamison Crowder is a technician, and Artis Payne gives you backfield vision and patience. Ibrahim Campbell is a rotational safety with smarts. I didn't love the value of Anthony Morris, but this draft helps. It doesn't fix your biggest problem, but it fortifies it. Then we go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Steelers drafted Todd Gurley in the first round, so they get their big playmaker on offense. They also get Jamon Brown at offensive tackle. They also go guard again, so they go 2 O-linemen, Jeremiah Putasi, Trey Flowers, who could be a surprise in the 4th, and then Randall Telfer in tight end, and then Mike Bennett, defensive tackle. They do make some signings, actually a lot of signings, so Charles Sims III, running back Chris Chester, Marshall Newhouse, Jason Peters signs with Pittsburgh. Then Lamar Woodley, Alana Fua, Jameel McLean, Lottie Ajiboy. That's his name now. Lottie Ajiboy. When we look at the feedback, Todd Gurley was the best back in the draft when healthy, but that's a big if. I like the intent, but the offensive line picks feel like reach and hopes. Trey Flowers, nice value, but you're with the Steelers. Where's the splash? Where's the statement? Lovey is playing it safe, too safe, and that's why they missed the playoffs. So, I don't know. I think Gurley is the splash. Then we got Bayless. He's got the Pittsburgh Steelers went out and got themselves a brother who runs like he's mad at the ground. Todd Gurley is the truth if he's healthy. The AFC North better look out. The line picks show they're protecting their investment. Flowers, he's a problem off the edge. And Telfer is a sleeper at tight end. Let's see. This draft isn't about flash, it's about fixing problems, and I like it. A-. Then we got Stephen A. Smith. The Pittsburgh Steelers went out and got themselves a brother who runs like he's mad at the ground. That's a little sloppy AI. Anyway, Todd Gurley is the truth. If he's healthy. Maybe it's the same one. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I see my mistake. It was actually Skip Bayless, the Colin Coward comment. This belonged to Skip Bayless, and then this was for Stephen A. Smith. So the real Colin Coward was, this is a Lovie Smith draft through and through. Disciplined, physical, grown up. Todd Gurley, that's a home run. You're pairing a healthy Gurley with Big Ben. That's instant offense. The offensive line got big and mean. Brown and Putasi, they're not flashy, but they'll punch you in the mouth. Flowers is a motor guy, and Mike Bennett gives you depth. It's not sexy, but it's Steelers, and it's smart. So then we go over here to Schefter, and yes, this is the correct one for Schefter. So Schefter goes, Pittsburgh focused on need with high floor players. Gurley was the top back on most boards. Medicals aside, Brown and Putasi give flexibility inside and out. Flowers had starter traits and fit the culture. League execs felt Pittsburgh walked out with 3 starters in the first 4 rounds. This wasn't the Steelers rebranding, it was them reasserting identity. Then you got Mel Kiper, and he goes and says, let me tell you, when Todd Gurley is healthy, he's a top 5 player in this entire class. That's tremendous value at 10. Brown and Putasi were both in my top 100. They're developmental, but they've got the frame and the finish. Trey Flowers, one of the most underrated day 3 defenders in this draft. Bennett gives you Ohio State toughness late. I don't love Telfer's ceiling, but this class is built for Sunday football. So there you are with the insiders' feedback. I think let's double check here. Yeah, technically Colin Cowherd gave an A-, so I guess that's a little bit misleading there. But there are the reviews. Thank you for watching. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more updates and like the video.